Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English story. Alex stared at the blinking cursor on his laptop screen. A vast, empty document mocking him. His thesis proposal, due in 2 days, remained stubbornly blank. He knew he should be working, but a sudden, overwhelming urge to reorganize his bookshelf had taken hold. This was a classic Alex move, procrastination at its finest. Procrastination had been Alex's constant companion for as long as he could remember. It had cost him grades in school, strained relationships with project partners, and filled him with a constant low hum of anxiety. He always felt terrible afterward, trapped in a cycle of avoidance and guilt. This time, though, felt different. The weight of his thesis was crushing. A chance encounter with a life coach, Sarah, at a local coffee shop changed everything. He'd overheard her discussing time management strategies with another client and, on a whim, decided to strike up a conversation. Sarah didn't judge him for his procrastination. Instead, she explained that it wasn't about laziness, but about the brain's response to perceived threats. She mentioned the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and how it triggers anxiety when faced with daunting tasks. She explained how some studies showed students on Reddit who procrastinated had higher levels of anxiety related to their studies. It wasn't a moral failing, but a neurological response. This was a revelation for Alex. Sarah introduced him to the concept of reframing anxiety as excitement. Think of the physical sensations, she'd said. The racing heart, the butterflies in your stomach, those are the same sensations you feel when you're excited. Try telling yourself you're excited to tackle the task, not anxious about it. Alex was skeptical, but willing to try anything. He started small. Instead of aiming to write his entire thesis proposal in one go, he decided to focus on quantity over quality. A strategy he'd read about in a blog post about growing a YouTube channel. The author had focused on just uploading something every day, even if it wasn't perfect, to build momentum and consistency. Alex applied this to his writing. He set a timer for 25 minutes, the Pomodoro technique. Another tip from Sarah, and committed to writing anything related to his thesis, even if it was just brainstorming bullet points. He also recalled reading about a study where photography students produced more creative and original work when they focused on producing a large number of photos, rather than trying to perfect a few. The sheer volume of work led to greater exploration and ultimately better quality in the long run. The first few attempts were awkward. He felt the familiar pull of procrastination. The urge to check his phone or make another cup of coffee. But he kept reminding himself to reframe his anxiety as excitement. I'm excited to explore this topic, he'd whisper to himself, even when he didn't quite believe it. He also started reducing task sizes. If the thought of writing a whole chapter felt overwhelming, He'd break it down into smaller sections, then smaller paragraphs, then individual sentences. This reminded him of an example Sarah had given him about someone who wanted to get back in shape. Instead of trying to run a marathon right away, they started with short walks around the block, gradually increasing the distance and intensity. Slowly but surely, something shifted. The blank page became less intimidating. The timer became a motivator, not a source of pressure. He started to see progress. And with each completed sentence, paragraph, and page, his confidence grew. He was no longer battling against himself, but working with his brain, understanding its tendencies and using strategies to overcome them. The negative consequences of procrastination started to fade. He wasn't pulling all-nighters anymore. His relationships improved as he became more reliable, and the constant hum of anxiety quieted down. He even started to enjoy the process of writing, finding a sense of flow and satisfaction in his work. When the deadline for his thesis proposal arrived, Alex submitted it with a sense of calm accomplishment. It wasn't perfect, but it was done, and it was good. He'd even found himself excited to begin working on the actual thesis. Alex still experienced moments of self-doubt. He still felt a flicker of anxiety when faced with a large task. But now, he had the tools to manage it. He knew that the feeling wasn't a reflection of his abilities, but a natural response to challenge. He knew that action, not the absence of fear, was the key. He had transformed from someone paralyzed by procrastination into someone who could consistently take action, pursue his goals, and finally, write his own story. Building momentum and finding support. In part 1, we saw how Alex discovered the true nature of his procrastination and began experimenting with new strategies. This part focuses on how Alex built momentum, sought support, and further refined his approach to conquer his procrastination for good. Alex's initial burst of productivity after his conversation with Sarah wasn't without its bumps. Some days, the old habits would creep back in. He'd find himself staring at social media instead of his work, or suddenly feel an overwhelming urge to clean his entire apartment. But now, he had the tools to recognize these moments and redirect himself. He started keeping a journal, not just to track his work progress, but also to monitor his emotional state. He'd write down when he felt the urge to procrastinate, what thoughts were running through his head, and how he managed to overcome the urge or didn't. This helped him identify specific triggers and refine his strategies. He realized, for example, that checking his email first thing in the morning was a major trigger, leading to hours lost scrolling through irrelevant messages. So, he implemented a new rule: no email until after his first Pomodoro session. He also started actively using the reframing technique Sarah had taught him. When he felt the familiar wave of anxiety about his thesis, he'd consciously tell himself, "This is excitement. This is my brain preparing me to focus." It felt silly at first, But with consistent practice, it started to work. He noticed that the physical sensations of anxiety, the racing heart and butterflies, became less distressing and more like a surge of energy. Remembering the YouTube growth example about quantity over quality, Alex focused on generating a large volume of writing, even if it wasn't perfect. He'd set his timer and just write whatever came to mind, without worrying about grammar, structure, or even making sense. He called these sessions his brain dumps. Surprisingly, these brain dumps often contained valuable ideas that he could later refine. He found that the act of just doing something, even if it wasn't perfect, broke the cycle of procrastination and built momentum. He started to see a similar effect to the photography student study. By focusing on volume, he inadvertently improved the quality of his work over time. Recognizing the importance of a supportive community, something Sarah had also emphasized, Alex decided to join a writing group on campus. He was hesitant at first, worried that he'd be judged for his past struggles. But he found the group to be incredibly supportive and encouraging. Sharing his experiences with other writers who understood his challenges made him feel less alone. He even discovered that some of them struggled with similar forms of procrastination. One of the members, an older student named David, had a particularly helpful piece of advice. He told Alex about implementation intentions, creating specific if-then plans. If it's 9:00 a.m., then I will sit down at my desk and work on my thesis for 1 hour, David had explained. This simple strategy helped Alex create clear boundaries and stick to his schedule. Alex also learned the importance of self-compassion. He realized that it was okay to have off days. Days when the procrastination monster reared its head. On those days, he didn't beat himself up. Instead, he acknowledged the struggle, practiced self-care, and recommitted to his strategies the next day. He remembered Sarah mentioning the importance of treating himself as he would treat a friend struggling with the same issue. As the weeks passed, Alex noticed significant changes in his life. He was more productive, less stressed, and more confident in his abilities. He was no longer defined by his procrastination. He was defined by his actions, his dedication, and his growing mastery over his own mind. He was still working on it, but the change was undeniable. He was building momentum, finding support, and finally taking control of his life. Embracing the journey and finding purpose. In the previous parts, Alex learned to understand his procrastination, implement practical strategies, and build momentum. This final part explores how Alex integrated these changes into his life, embraced the ongoing journey of self-improvement, and discovered a deeper sense of purpose. With the thesis proposal successfully submitted, Alex felt a surge of accomplishment. But he knew that maintaining his newfound productivity required ongoing effort. He continued to use the Pomodoro technique, reframed his anxieties as excitement, and regularly checked in with his writing group. He also kept his journal, not just to track his work, but to reflect on his emotional state and identify any lingering triggers for procrastination. He realized that overcoming procrastination wasn't about achieving a state of perpetual productivity. It was about developing a healthier relationship with his work, with his anxieties, and with himself. There were still days when he struggled, days when the old habits tempted him. But now, he had the tools to navigate those challenges. He knew that a momentary lapse wasn't a failure. It was simply a reminder to recommit to his strategies and practice self-compassion. One of the most significant changes for Alex was his newfound sense of purpose. As he became more productive and less burdened by procrastination, he had more time and energy to pursue other interests. He rediscovered his love for photography, something he had neglected during his years of struggling with his studies. He started carrying his camera with him again, capturing the world around him with a renewed sense of curiosity and creativity. He also started to think about how he could use his experiences to help others. He began volunteering as a writing tutor at a local community center, sharing the strategies he had learned with other students who were struggling with procrastination and self-doubt. He found that helping others not only reinforced his own progress but also gave him a deep sense of fulfillment. He remembered Sarah's words about the importance of finding a supportive community. By joining the writing group, he had found that support for himself. Now, he was creating that same supportive environment for others. Alex's experience also taught him the importance of embracing the journey. He realized that personal growth is not a destination but a continuous process of learning, adapting, and evolving. There would always be new challenges to face, new obstacles to overcome. But he now had the confidence and resilience to navigate those challenges with grace and determination. His thesis, once a source of immense anxiety, became a project he was genuinely passionate about. He approached his research and writing with a newfound sense of focus and purpose. He even started to see connections between his academic work and his photography, using his visual skills to enhance his writing and his analytical skills to inform his photography. When the time came to defend his thesis, Alex felt a sense of calm confidence. He was no longer the anxious student paralyzed by procrastination. He was a capable, confident, and passionate scholar, ready to share his work with the world. Alex's journey wasn't about eliminating procrastination entirely. It was about transforming his relationship with it. He learned to understand its roots, develop effective coping mechanisms, and, most importantly, to take action despite the fear. He had not only conquered his procrastination but had also discovered a deeper sense of purpose, a passion for helping others, and a profound appreciation for the ongoing journey of self-discovery. He had become his own solution, and in doing so, He had found his way to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Alex's story offers several important morals. Procrastination is often rooted in anxiety, not laziness. The story emphasizes that procrastination is frequently a coping mechanism for anxiety and fear, rather than a simple lack of motivation. Understanding this root cause is crucial for overcoming it. Reframing negative thoughts and emotions is powerful. Alex's success with reframing anxiety as excitement demonstrates the power of changing one's perspective. By altering his internal dialogue, he was able to transform a debilitating emotion into a source of energy. Focusing on quantity can lead to quality. The example of the YouTube channel and the photography study illustrates that prioritizing quantity over quality in the initial stages can lead to greater creativity, consistency, and ultimately, improved quality in the long run. The act of doing, of producing, generates momentum and allows for learning through practice. Breaking down large tasks makes them more manageable. The strategy of reducing task size is a key takeaway, showing how overwhelming projects can be tackled by dividing them into smaller, more achievable steps. This makes the overall goal less daunting and promotes consistent progress. Supportive communities and mentorship are invaluable. Alex's experience with the writing group and Sarah's guidance highlights the importance of finding a supportive community and seeking mentorship. Sharing experiences and receiving encouragement from others can provide validation, motivation, and practical advice. Self-compassion is essential for sustainable change. The story emphasizes the importance of self-compassion, particularly during setbacks. Recognizing that everyone struggles and treating oneself with kindness and understanding is crucial for maintaining long-term progress. Overcoming personal challenges can lead to a deeper sense of purpose. Alex's journey demonstrates that overcoming personal challenges can lead to self-discovery and a deeper sense of purpose. By conquering his procrastination, he found the time and energy to pursue other passions and help others facing similar struggles. Personal growth is an ongoing journey. The story acknowledges that overcoming procrastination is not a one-time fix but an ongoing process. It emphasizes the importance of continuous effort, self-reflection, and adaptation. In essence, Alex's story is a testament to the power of self-awareness, practical strategies, support, and self-compassion in overcoming personal challenges and achieving lasting positive change. It shows that even deeply ingrained habits like procrastination can be transformed with the right approach. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you liked the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care, and see you next time.